So this is piece actually. Now if you see, this is the p pod actually. Now that means what exactly is pod here is the cover, right? Total it is called as a p pod. This total is actually, if I go to anything, there is a reason they call it as a pod actually. Now this is a p pod. So I don't know, for some reason this is not working. What is not working is okay, let's try to use this one. Nothing is working. Come on, why you're not working? No guys. Okay, so the total, right, each one is a container. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come on, copy image. I'm going to MS Paint. Okay, now here what exactly is a pod is this cover is the pod actually. So this total thing is a pod actually, and each one is a container. Container 1, container 2. Not only container, you can also have volumes here, volume 1, volume 2, like this. But it's not recommended to have multiple containers in a pod unless there is a requirement. Sometimes what will happen, imagine I have a pod with one container which is having a website actually. Normally I have one more which is actually do the background process, which will actually copy the data from outside and put it here where the web server will access it. So in this type of business cases, right, what will happen, you will have like multiple containers in the pods, but 99% most of the environments, right? So what will happen, you're really not going to have multiple containers in a pod actually. Most probably it is actually one pod and you have one container. That's it. You can have volumes actually. So in the pod array, if the pod fails, right, the container as well as volume also gets deleted actually. Okay, now not only p pod, you have one more called as whale pod. Sometimes the reason I'm saying this one is, so you might think that pod is only applicable. Sometimes when you see the examples, they will also say whale pod. That means, you know, whales, right, the sharks and whales. So whale pod is nothing but a group of whales actually. So this is a whale pod. A pod is a social group of a whales. So normally these whales will go in a group actually. It's called as a whale pod. Similarly, a pod can contain multiple containers, but most probably you will go to one container unless the business requirement requires multiple containers. Okay, so low level component of the Kubernetes. Next is you have deployment actually. So what is this deployment? Deployment is actually responsible for uh, creation of replicas and everything basically. So that means if the pod is actually, it uses something called as replication control at the back end. Replication control backend and do this one. So well, let's see the notes what Kubernetes has to say about this one. I'll say K8s deployment. Now the deployment provides, okay, so you can describe a desired state in the deployment. A deployment controller changes the actual state to the desired state in the at a control. So you can define to create new replica sets or remove existing deployments adopt. So that means what will happen is this is the replica sets which will be used. So what you can do, you can use it for you can update a deployment, you can actually increase or decrease the scale up or scale down. So the following use case, so create a deployment for rollout for replica. The replica set creates pods in the background, check the status, declare a new state of the pods, roll back to earlier, scale up, scale down, pass the deployment to apply multiple fixes. So these are some basic use cases of the deployments. Most probably deployment uses replica sets to have a desired state. So what will happen in deployment, you can say that one, what I want is I want to have 4 replicas. See, if you create a pod, it's a single pod, that doesn't really make any sense. Let me show it how you can do that. For example, what I can do, ku, so I create say I can let a create pod like PO, I say like pod 1. Okay, so image equal to, so docker, sorry, index.docker.io slash Sri Harsha V rolling update v1, right? If I do this one, so what will happen is it should create the if and so what happened? I think I need to give a, normally we don't create like this, guys. Okay, don't think that we're going to create KU, because normally we're going to declare everything in a YAML and do that one. So here, so what we'll do is, see, create, you need to put in a JSON, or like what I can do is I can put in a YAML file and create. So yeah, deployment is there. How come they didn't give? Or let's do one thing. So let me show it to you. How can, okay, this is the time where you're going to talk to your API reference. Actually, let me show it to you. I'll say Kubernetes API reference. This is important actually. So let me go to the reference. Actually, here it's going to show you how exactly you need to create the stuff. So I'll say go to the API reference, say API reference. Look, this is the API reference. For example, imagine I want to have a pod actually. Okay, so you can actually come back here. So I'll say kubectl example. I can actually copy something like this. This is how, you create it. So it's a kind pod actually, but I don't know why actually. Why it, okay. Okay, so what I'll do is here, so I'm going to copy this, come here. So what I'll do is nano, or you can edit here, guys. You can actually give a name, and you can give the images and everything actually. So I'm going to copy this and nano pod dot yml, open it. I'm going to paste it here. Okay, now I'm going to create it. How? Kubectl create hyphen f. If I say pod.yml, right, what will happen? It will say pod example created. What I will do is say ku get pods, right? You can see it is getting. Now if I say I can get like kubectl ked, if I say get all, right, so what it will do, it will show what are the things, or it will also show if I want to get deploy, right? If I say ku get deployment, I don't have any deployments actually. So if I say ku get pods, I have only this pod. Now problem, what will happen is the problem will come something like this. If by any chance somebody deletes this one, some like delete PO, I'll say you can give shortcut as PO pod example. Now it's deleted actually, right? Now the container inside that one is also deleted inside the pod. Now who guarantees this one? Now if I say ku get pods, it's not recreated. If you see it's created, same with the docker also, right? In docker, if you terminate a container, it's going to not come back. That is the reason we use docker swarm, right? And we create a docker service. Similarly, what happens here, if the pod is, it's a standalone piece, so it's get terminated or deleted by someone, it's not going to come back. So how are you going to deal with this one? Okay, so what we're going to do is, that is where we're going to use something called as deploy, guys. So if you see in a general pod, right, you don't have much to do here. Okay, So what I'll do, I can actually create a deployment. Instead of doing like this, you can also, this is basically, you can declarative, you can put everything like this actually. You can also use a ad hoc scripts like kubectl create deploy hyphen hyphen help. Then it will give you what exactly you can go see, kubectl deployment name image tag, all these things. In that one you can also give replicas as well. Let me show it to you. Here it will come. Where is the replicas template? Validate. One thing I observed is it's not so easy, guys. There is no autofill and everything. You need to refer and again and again. Okay, so let's do one thing. I'm going to create it. How? kubectl create deployment. So deployment, the name is, if you see, you can directly give the name, which is, I'm going to say like nginx1, for example, nginx01. I'm going to say like hyphen image also I need to give. So if you see, hyphen image is equal, that's what I gave yesterday, I mean a few minutes back. So it'll say index dot, that means I'm asking to download from Docker Hub Sri Harsha V. So kubectl create deploy nginx1 hyphen hyphen image index dot. Okay. So what I'll say replicas 3. Mm, hit enter. Hmm. Okay, let's create one and we can scale it actually. So what is saying? Okay, I need. It looks like I gave nginx01 lowercase. Hold on, guys. If you see, deployment apps is created. So if I say ku get pods, right, it should get created. And if I say get, I can do something like it, pods po comma deploy. I should get two actually. And service, I have one default service, because still we are yet to speak about the service, so no need to worry. Right now this is how you can deploy. See, right now if I say only ku get deploy, now it is showing it's only one is required and one is running. Now I can do that one. So what I'll say is ku ku scale deploy. I can do scale deploy. Come on, scale deploy, which is nginx01 replicas is equal to 3. So if you say ku get pods, check it out, guys. Now earlier it was only one, right? Now if you see, it is basically how much? It is actually 3 are running. See, if I make it replicas to, for example, 4, so again, so now what exactly happened? So even if I give a command, I can do something like this. I'll say ku edit deploy nginx01, right? What will happen? It will show me what exactly it is deployed. Even I give ku create deployment. Let's see, it has created the backend. So generation 3, what is the name, and replicas 4, everything it deployed. Check it out, guys. This is actually, even if you give a command, right, it will take a lot of defaults and do all these things actually. I can do something like this as well. See, let me show it to you. One of the thing it's good is, so okay, so I say ku deploy hyphen output. If I say JSON, right, it will show everything in the JSON. Okay, if I put everything, okay, hold on. I'll say ku get deploy actually, not edit actually. I don't want to edit. I just get the information. I'll say ku get deploy. If I put on JSON, it will show all the outputs in the JSON. See, like this. But I can also, what I can also do, instead of JSON, if I use YAML, it will show everything in the YAML, what is happening. You can even edit that if you go inside and edit that one. For example, if I want to edit the masters, right, I can edit and add additional masters if I want. So this is how you can put ku get pu pod comma deploy. It is simply showing what are the things. Okay, now The challenge here is, yes, I have the stuff running here, but unfortunately what will happen is here I can't access that one. Why? Because in service also, if you are creating a service, you are exposing the service, right? You're giving -p. Similarly, I need to expose the deployment. When I expose the deployment, it will create a service and expose. So what we need to do is ku expose deploy. If you type it, so if we h, this is how it will show. So ku expose deploy, you can give port, protocol, and all these things. Let me expose it. I'll say ku expose deploy nginx 01. Okay, I'm going to expose this deployment. Hyphen port is equal to, I'm expose that on 8000. Hyphen target hyphen port. That means this is container port. It's operating at 80. Here hyphen type is equal to node port. Hit enter. Now if you see, you are, again, we're not going to do this, guys. See, we can actually manage and create services and everything using directly command line, or we most probably we don't use the command line. We almost always use the declarative way, because we're going to create all the respective YAML files, and then we're going to deploy to. Why? Because what will happen, I have deployed using expose it. Now after 1 month, I don't remember what exactly I have done. But if I put everything in the YAML file, and if I'm going to deploy that one, what will happen? So I know right what is happening. Like, okay, I have deployed a while back, because we're going to put in GitHub. So what will happen? I'll remember okay, this is what we did. I remember that one, so I can go back and check it out. Right now, if you see, it is exposed. So ku get pods and get svc. Now if you see, it is exposed on all the two nodes. It is exposed on 31035, guys. It is exposed on 31035. We can access it and check it out, because I already changed the security group. Let me do one thing. Let me take this. See this? This is how basically you means everything. Of course, you need to put a load balancer in the front to overcome this one, but I'm just telling you actually. So the second node as well, same like Docker service. What we did was, so something like this. Something like this. It's two are different, and this is happening actually. Now what I can do here is, let's see if I can able to update this one. So what I'm going to do, so ku get, or what I will do, something edit deploy nginx 01. I'll get this one right. Well, I'll do one thing. I'll going to come down. Where is the image which I was using? This is the image I was using, right? What I'm going to do is, I'm going to change this to, hit I to insert, because it's a nano. I'm going to give v3 escape exit. Now if you see, it is basically terminating and updating the deployment. Check it out. It's terminating and adding extra, guys. See, so it's terminating and adding. So done. There is no change in the service. If I refresh it, see this, it's changed. See, this is how, what you can do is, you can actually run a in place upgrade, or without any downtime. We can actually perform a rolling update as well using the deployment, and the service is there. Now the problem out I can see is, this is the one. Now remember, in Docker Swarm, right? If you delete the service, what will happen? It will delete the entire your pods also, right? It won't happen like this. Let me show you. Ku get all I give. So it is showing I have 4 pods here, and I have 2 services. This is a cluster service. I don't need to worry about it. Don't worry. This is our service, and it is saying that one. See this one. This is our deployment, and 2 replica sets, because it created a new replica set when we have upgraded it. Now imagine if I delete the service, what will happen? Ku delete service, and I'm going to delete this one. Or you can directly give. Don't need to give service. You simply give delete service and give like this. Hit enter. Okay, ku get pods.